Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Industry in Transition Zoom call. I am thrilled to have Ken Cella with us. And it's interesting, Ken, because you're actually changing positions, high-end positions at Edward Jones, from principal client of Client Strategies Group to principal branch development. How's that feel?
Hey, good morning, Tony. Well, it feels good. I like change, and we're always changing at Edward Jones. So in the Client Strategies Group, I had the opportunity to really have strategic insight into and leadership of our marketing group, the way that our products and services come to market for our financial advisors, and transitioning to the branch side. It'll really be working with our branch teams and our regional leaders to make that happen for our clients every day. Really putting the products in place and really helping our clients achieve their financial goals. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, putting it in practice. It's always fun. I think you'll love the field. I'm sure you already do. Advisors are a lot of fun. And everyone I've met at Edward Jones, all the advisors seem to be, people that are really psyched to be able to take on the challenge. So that's kind of fun.
Well, as a former financial advisor myself, I have to say that it is the best job in our firm. We have a firm that really is built on one thing, and that is supporting the work that our branch teams do and our financial advisors do to serve our clients, and that's an advantage for us.
There's no question about it. I always, look back to the day when they promised me, "Hey, being a manager is going to be fun," and it's like, okay, but that the best job in the firm is being if you can do it well and you can take care of clients all day. What a tremendous amount of satisfaction you get out of doing that job. No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in now that we're talking here. This is Christmas week. It's my favorite time of year, but we have a little bit of Groundhog Day. We've got this Omicron variant coming back, and there's sort of those kind of pressures coming back on our industry. And I know that you guys actually did really well with the Delta. I mean, God forbid anybody got hurt, but at the end of the day, your technology and the branch system and all that stuff was able to really weather the last COVID storm pretty well.
Yeah, it really demonstrated the resiliency of our branch teams and our business model. Yeah. We're really set up, if you will, to be a distributed organization all across North America. So we're in 68% of the counties across the United States, as an example. And so, our financial advisors were able to continue to do the work that they do, not only because of the proximity that they have to their office that is really more, socially distanced in the way that it's set up, but also, as you said, Tony, because of the technology and the enhancements that were put in place nearly overnight to make sure that connection with our clients could stay strong. And it's interesting because coming out of the pandemic, and of course we're dealing with new changes every day, what we're learning is people's preferences are changing in terms of how they want to meet with their financial advisor.
I totally agree. It's interesting because the pandemic has accelerated some changes that are, I think, net positives, for our industry. It's made us question some things that maybe we should have questioned, a while ago, but it's certainly altered the future. The basics of what we do are going to be the same, right? I mean, we're an advice-based business. So the fact that there's issues out there actually speaks well for our business, right? People need more advice, but the trajectory of it has shifted a little bit in the pandemic.
It sure has. In fact, we've done some studies throughout this pandemic, and one that I'm really proud of called the 4 Pillars of the New Retirement. And there were so many great insights in that study that really helped us. But I'll highlight one, and that is during the pandemic, people had different life events that happened, and that drove them to want more help professionally when it comes to their financial situation. And when we really dug into what people were looking for, a couple of things emerged. One of them is they're looking for a financial advisor to serve as, they use the term guide, someone to guide them through the decisions that they're making in their life. We think that plays to our strength because really the ability of our branch teams to be in such a close and trusted, deep personal relationship. That's really the hallmark of the way that we've done business. And I think there's some degree of proximity where, our clients have sat down face to face with their advisors for years, but I think it's deeper than that. It's also in the way that our branch teams engage with our clients. This study was really predicated on what people valued most. And four things emerged, which again are really hallmarks of the way we do business. People said they cared about four things. We call them the four pillars: their health, their family, having a sense of purpose in what they do, and then having a financial situation that can support those three things. Support a healthy lifestyle in retirement.
I mean, it's
Support your
interesting
family.
that advisors are now, and I've seen other studies sort of on a similar vein, that some of the conversations we're having, and I think this is somewhat pandemic driven and Zoom driven, are not just about money anymore, right? I mean, where we're having, people are concerned, concerned about their health. They're concerned. So we're having maybe talks about what money can do. And you need to be a live person to do that, right? A machine's not going to do that.
That's exactly it. And in the midst of all of this change, what's happening is in the 21st century, the service economy continues to set new expectations. Our clients are raising the bar on what they expect from their financial services providers. The expectation around what good looks like and what good financial advice looks like is evolving rapidly. And so we see that every day as we go out and study the preferences of our clients. And it's really a growth mindset. I find it very welcoming. We're really focused on adding more value. That knowledge that our clients have translates directly to the knowledge that our financial advisors need to have on how to support them with the right degree of, Tony, what I like to call both IQ and EQ. They need to have the professional acumen, but they also need to have the empathy to get to those conversations with clients to truly understand their goals. What's most important,
more now than ever. I think more now than ever, the EQ. That's just if you can't get your arms around that, you're going to have trouble. Yeah,
that's it. And so what I see our best financial advisors do is they really dig in with the client deep. They ask great questions that really help the client to start to discover what their goals are, because most of our clients come in, they don't really know what their goals are, and they need a professional to help them. But they take it a step further. Not only do they ask the good questions, they really drive for understanding. They really get to that point where there's a mutual understanding of what those goals are. And then our financial advisors get deeply invested in helping them to achieve those goals and see it through over a course of years to actually see it implemented. And there's no better compliment than when a client comes in and says, hey, because of what you've been able to do for me, my family's been able to do X, fill in the blank. There's lots of life goals that get achieved. And that's what we're so proud of.
Well, it's, and the firm's supporting advisors to do that, right? I mean, you have all the materials, you were on the other side. That's what's interesting too. So you were developing a lot of the stuff that the advisors can use to sort of see it through.
You bet. Yeah, we have a term that we call human-centered complete wealth management. And it's really a way for us to talk about the vision that we have to remain a human-centered organization. Technology is playing a bigger and bigger role every day. There's no doubt about it. And we are making tremendous investments in technology. We'll invest over $1 billion in technology in the few years to come. So it's not that technology is important, but human-centered is our competitive advantage. We'll continue to invest in our financial advisors and their ability to serve their clients. When we say complete as part of human-centered complete wealth management, we're really focused on customization for our clients, personalization, based on what complete means to them, because every client's definition of what complete looks like is a little bit different. Yeah. And so we're providing our financial advisors the tools to help discern that for clients. And then when it comes to wealth management, we're taking a broader view of wealth management to include financial and non-financial products, services, and solutions. So we're continuing to innovate on that front to understand what's possible, what clients need. And just like these studies that we do, understanding the four pillars of the new retirement, we're really in this with our clients to go on a journey to understand what they need.
Well, it's interesting because when you look at the industry, certainly you see trends, right? So the independent movement is growing because people are leaving big banks and they want the independence and all of that represents. But my understanding of Edward Jones, the culture is such an important part of what you guys do, that you embrace a lot of the ethos of the independent movement that people are leaving to get, right? They want this good culture, they want all that stuff, and you guys kind of have it. Plus you got the support, of the larger organization. So my concerns about the independent side are, as we we've got Groundhog Day on COVID, we've got taxes, regulation, inflation, all this stuff. I think it's a legitimate concern. And I started two independent firms. I think it's a legitimate concern that if you're going independent today, do you have the backing? Do you have a firm that could support you? And you don't want to give up those cultural things that you need, right? Because you want those so badly. But there's a lot going on that you may need a big brother to help you out with a little bit here.
It's a very interesting time in the industry, Tony. A lot of times people say, who's your competition? And it's really a hard question to answer. We'd like to think that the business model that we have is unique. First, we're a partnership. And so we're able to make strategic investments through the long term. We're not subject to the quarterly earnings calls that a publicly traded organization.
That's critical.
Yeah,
you run a firm for the quarter, and you don't feel. Look, I remember the difference between working at big banks, and you felt like they're doing all this for the quarter and for the stock price, but not investing in their business. They're not the long-term business, growth of our industry. That used to be the way they did it, but they don't anymore.
Well, we'd like to think it's an advantage for us to continue to be able to do that, and then so that speaks to our larger competitors. The RIA movement is well underfoot, as you mentioned. And when I think about that, they're smaller organizations, and they're leveraging resources from best of breed, in different parts of the industry. I'd argue that the whatever Jones brings to the table is a far richer level of support for our advisors. And you talked about culture, Tony, and I think culture is the key. What our advisors enjoy so much about working at Edward Jones is the camaraderie that comes along with being part of a culture, being part of an organization that's purpose-driven in the way that we're focused on achieving what's most important for our clients, but also living out our own purposes. And, so when I talk to most of our financial advisors, they've given thought to their own purpose statements. They're really executing on their purpose. And so we're really, focused on how do we make Edward Jones the best place that an advisor can start, build, and finish their career. This is a destination place. I'd like to say, we have the scale of the large organization with the autonomy of the RIA, and it's really, a hybrid approach that really puts us in a sweet spot that our financial advisors should. They share that a lot with their with some of the competition that may not be in the right spot that could be with us.
That's it, because I think when people are coming, I think more and more to the realization, based on a lot of what you saw in your surveys with clients, advisors are not immune to looking at their lives again during all this COVID and everything. They're saying, I want more. And it's some of that's, you don't want to get too esoteric, spiritual or whatever. They want to feel better about where they go every day. So culture, really matters. And if I can combine that with a big firm, then that's obviously, a benefit. Especially with all the nonsense that's going on today. I have concerns about the inflation and taxes and regulation, and where you're going to get guidance on that.
Yeah, you bet. And one of the misnomers that I think is out there is that we had that Edward Jones isn't really in the business of recruiting existing financial advisors, and nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, we've been doing it for decades. It gets a bit overshadowed from some of the past history of growing through, industry, other industries, and people joining our industry from other professions. That's certainly part of how we grow as well. But in fact, we continue to make enhancements to the way that financial advisors and other firms can join us, up to and including recently changing some of the 2-year compensation that's available for an advisor who's joining from another firm.
Let's not keep it a secret, because people need to know.
That's right. Yep. We are telling that story.
So one thing I had recently written an article called "The Death of the Trainee," and it was just the idea of being able to train people up in this business is so important, and the fact that Merrill Lynch is essentially done with its, program, and that used to be where the street got educated, forever. And I worry about, on the independent side or outside of the big banks, how are we going to bring new people into the business, which we desperately need to do. And we need to, open the tent a little bit, so we have new people of diverse backgrounds and all that kind of stuff in there. But it's almost impossible to do on the independent side. And I love the idea of independence. I love all that stuff, but it's just very difficult to bring people in when you don't have the resources, of the big firm, to do it. So to hear that you guys are continuing on the, trainee, it'll be the new Merrill Lynch, right? 3/4 of the people trained every year are going to be trained at Edward Jones versus, anywhere else.
Well, Tony, we are committed to continuing to grow We ended the third quarter with 18,829 financial advisors. We are committed to growth because there is such a great opportunity. When we look at the current clients that we were able to serve and lay that against the population and the addressable market, we know that there are 42 million households that have the potential to be our client. And so you hit the nail on the head. When you look at the demographics, we know that our advisor population needs to become more diverse, and we are focused on that. We think we have an advantage in the way that we have constructed the tapestry of different ways that people join us. And so there's several paths that are customized based on the individual that's joining us, what their background has been, and what they hope to aspire in their career as an financial advisor.
It's a different world. When I started, you could cold call. My dad was a dentist, so all my first clients were dentists because that's all I do, right? Those are the guys I called in the beginning. So imagine if you're a first generation out of college, where do you start? You know, you need help to get this thing going. And if not, we are going to be overrun with machines if we don't help this next generation of people get in there and build a business. And from a business perspective, the fastest growing segments in the wealth markets are people of color and women. So this seems like a no-brainer, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, we have when we look at our statistics versus the industry, we're doing our part. We still have a lot of work ahead of us. We have results that I would say we've made progress in both of those areas, but we're not where we want to be. And we continue to focus there. It's got to be a place, though. Our firm has to be a place where my daughters, my nieces, people of all different backgrounds can look into the organization and see other role models, see people who are doing the job that look like them, that have backgrounds similar to them. And that is what we're focused on. Creating a place of belonging is really how we talk about it, where everyone can aspire to be, have the kind of life-changing experience that I had joining as a financial advisor. So that's really what we're up to.
That's it. And you don't want to lose the unlimited upside in doing that, because then you take away the whole point of it. I mean, so a lot of these new training programs are, giving people salaries, and then what's the point? You're not going to be able to enjoy what you and I have, right? The tremendous upside for our families. That's the key, and very often in our business, the financial advisor is sort of the first person that made something of themselves in terms of building a business for their own that they could pass on and all this other stuff. That's usually the first guy who did it.
Tony, that reminds me of a story I want to share with you. We have a long history of really consulting with senior consultants into our organization, and that's been from the likes of Peter Drucker, Michael Porter, several very distinguished and recognizable names. Not something we've taken lightly. We've got a lot of history with individuals like that. But in the course of one of those meetings, this has been about, I would say 7 years ago, we were deep into a conversation with an individual. And I won't do attribution to this quote because I don't have the quote exactly right. But we were very deep into a meeting. And this very studied person who knows, the U.S. business economy very well, stopped us in the middle of our tracks as we were describing the role of our financial advisors and the results of our training program and the way that people were able to accomplish what they did as they joined us as financial advisors. He stopped us cold and he said, Ken, what it really dawns on me is that Edward Jones is one of the last places in America where someone can truly join and achieve the American dream. And we were describing how becoming a financial advisor here doesn't require an upfront investment, that it really requires the opportunity to be earned from just hard work and discipline of doing the job of a financial advisor, meeting clients face to face, getting to know them, caring about them, and understanding them. And that really stuck with me because I do think the opportunity here is one of achieving your dreams.
Yeah. Well, amen. So I think we have to end on that note. I always like to end on a high note. So there we go. That was a great quote. And I certainly believe that about our business. That's what keeps it fun and exciting. So appreciate you spending some time with us, Ken, and we'll do this again.
Tony, thanks for the opportunity. It's been great to be with you.